Have you ever noticed how your favorite apps seem to talk to each other perfectly? Like how Spotify plays through your Uber app, or how a random mobile game lets you sign in with Google? They aren't doing it by magic. They're using something called an SDK. Today, we're going deep. We'll cover what it is, why big companies give them away for free, and how they actually work inside your phone. SDK stands for Software Development Kit. If you want to build a bookshelf, you could go into the forest, chop down a tree, and forge your own nails. That's building from scratch. It's slow and difficult. Or you go to IKEA. They give you a box. Inside is pre-cut wood, the right screws, and a manual. An SDK is that IKEA box for programmers. It's a business in a box that allows a developer to add complex features, like a map or a payment system, without writing everything from zero. Let's open that box and look at the 5 specific power tools that make an SDK work. Code libraries. These are chunks of pre-written code for common tasks. If a developer wants a face filter for their camera app, they don't need to be a math genius. They just plug in the library from an SDK, and it's done. API? It's the set of rules that lets the app talk to the service. For example, when you click Pay with PayPal, the API carries that message to PayPal's servers and brings back the success notification. The compiler. Humans write code in languages like Swift or Java, but phones only understand ones and zeros. The SDK includes a compiler to translate human instructions into raw machine code. IDE integration. Modern SDKs plug directly into a developer's integrated development environment, IDE, acting as a digital workbench. A key feature is autocomplete, which, much like your phone's predictive text, finishes lines of code automatically. This speeds up development while preventing the typos and syntax errors that frequently lead to software crashes. Version control. Software isn't static. If a security hole is found, the company releases a new version of the SDK. Developers then update their app to the new version. This is why you see app updates that say bug fixes. Often, they just swapped out an old, rusty SDK for a shiny, secure new one. The business strategy? It's about ecosystems. Think of it like Lego. If Google gives a pizza shop a Maps SDK for free, that pizza shop is now built on Google's foundation. Google becomes the infrastructure of the internet. They get data, they get brand presence, and they make their service the default choice for everyone. Privacy and security. This affects your privacy directly. When an app uses a sign-in with Google SDK, the app developer never actually sees your password. The SDK acts as a secure bridge. It asks Google, is this person legit? Google says yes and hands over a temporary digital key. This keeps your data in the hands of the big companies you trust, rather than a random app you just downloaded. So what's the catch? If an app has 20 different SDKs for ads, tracking, and analytics, the app becomes bloated. This is why some simple apps take up huge amounts of storage or drain your battery. The developer is essentially trying to carry too many toolkits at once. Comparison Android versus SDKs. Finally, remember that not all kits are the same. The iOS SDK, like a high-end lockdown woodshop, it only works for iPhones and it's very strict, which is why iPhone apps often feel smoother. The Android SDK, like a massive open-air warehouse, it has to work on thousands of different phones, Samsung, Pixel, Motorola. It's more flexible, but much harder to get perfect for every user. So next time you see a share to Instagram button or a map inside an app, you know exactly what's happening. An SDK is doing the heavy lifting. If you found this breakdown helpful, check out our other videos from the Non-Developers Tech Glossary. Hit that like button, subscribe to the Non-Developers Tech Glossary, and I'll see you in the next one.